Welcome to our Sales Management webinar series. My name is Bob Junkie. I'm the founder and CEO of Adventes. The topic of this, our second video on no wiggle room opportunity stages, is the link between performance metrics and skill development. By way of quick review, in our first video, we discussed the negative impact of having ambiguously defined stages, the importance of the power line as a qualifier to consider in defining stages, the main qualifiers to include in stage definitions, and we analyzed the stages at a high level. The focus of this video will be first to discuss the significance of the requirements to pass from one stage to the next. With that in mind, we'll take a closer look at some key stages. We'll next discuss how these no wiggle room stages are critical to helping managers manage via key surgical performance metrics. And we'll conclude with an analysis of how the stages help managers assess a seller's skills or skill deficiencies. So here are the full set of opportunity stages, taking us from initial planning stages all the way to a win. Let's review a few key concepts and then take a look at some stages. First, note that to get to any stage, a seller must first complete each bullet item associated with that stage's definition. You can look at them as gates that the opportunity must pass through to achieve a particular stage. Second, sales managers, not sellers, must make the final decision on assigning an opportunity to the appropriate stage. There are quality minimums associated with those gates, and sellers are rather notorious for misgrading and in particular overgrading opportunities. If sales organizations practice those two things, they can have great confidence in the status of all their opportunities. In turn, they can have confidence in their forecasts, pipelines, internal communications, and management of resources on opportunities. So with that, let's look at a few key stages. The C stage is important because it's a barometer of an individual's and ultimately an organization's ability to prospect and fill the top of the pipeline. The A prospect is also key. Note that a seller has gained access to power, identified power's critical business issue, a solution to that issue has been identified, as has an action plan or sequence of events driving the opportunity to a close. Consequently, it's a critical stage to achieve with a minimum 50% probability of closing. Hence, it's fundamental to forecasting and pipeline management. You'll notice that we take the proverbial fork in the road at the bottom of the table. We do not want to take the right fork and go toward that near loss. It means we've misqualified an opportunity that should have been disqualified much earlier. We do want to take the left fork to the near win. It means we've defined the steps in our action plan well and managed the ensuing sell cycle well. Now let's discuss how these no wiggle room stages are critical to helping managers manage via key surgical performance metrics, and how the stages help managers assess a seller's skills or skill deficiencies. So let's look at some key stages, their significance as a management performance metric, and their significance from a skill development perspective. To create C opportunities requires effective prospecting. Management should therefore establish monthly minimums for each seller to ensure that they are building their pipelines. Simply put, managers should seek to minimize the number of B prospects because that means that your seller is calling below the power line. Opportunities at the A stage are critical because they're such an excellent predictor of future wins. From a metric perspective, their cumulative value at the individual and organizational level is key to both pipeline management and forecasting accuracy. If your seller can do this, they're good at both need development and sell cycle control. That leads to perhaps the most important performance metric, the ratio of the number of A prospects to B prospects. For over 20 years, our clients have found that a common starting point for most sellers is 1 to 8, meaning that for each A prospect they have 8 Bs. They have found that sellers in this situation waste 40% of their time calling on buyers who cannot buy. If managed properly, best-in-class companies achieve approximately a 6-to-1 ratio. Think of the turnaround because of that. And that leads us to the near loss, which is an indicator that someone is poor at sell cycle control and should be disqualifying much earlier instead of hanging on to loser opportunities. And finally, the near win. This is an excellent metric to track because it means your seller is quite capable of executing a sell cycle, qualifying throughout, and bringing opportunities home. I hope you found part 2 of our video on opportunity stages to be beneficial. If you have any questions or would like to discuss this further, please contact us at the telephone number or email address shown below. On behalf of our entire global network of associates, thank you very much.